I'm going to mute everybody. So as I was just mentioning, I think this is a grizzly bear. And one other thing, after I came back and looked at this picture, I thought I probably have the eyes too close together. They're probably not that close, but then I looked at the actual photo and they're even closer together than this. So I guess they really bore in on their prey with their eyes. You've heard the saying, haven't you, where predators have eyes forward and the ones who are sought after have eyes more to the side, like a rabbit. Have you ever heard that? I read that once. I don't know how true that is, but when the ones after I thought about it, it did seem logical of the ones I could think of. Okay, so we have, let's see, maybe I better move out a little bit. I do have my drawing paper in landscape form, but you can do either one, whatever. Now, this guy looks like he's really hard to do, but he's not really. Oh yeah, thank you, Nancy, and everybody. Put your name under the chat if you want the video. We're going to start with a circle, and this is where his head's going to be. So don't start it so far up that you haven't got room for the baby. And they're kind of short, so I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to make just a circle, and I'm probably going to have to erase this a lot, and I'm drawing it nice and dark so you can see it. That's going to be the basis for the head. So make it the size that you think you want your bear's head to be. Okay, then just about halfway down, doesn't have to be exactly halfway down. But we're going to do the legs, the outer the legs. Now, remember, you can erase these if you don't like it. I'm going to come down, and they come down. Think about an upside down U, okay? So this is going to come down, and they kind of flare out a little bit. And this is the same on the other side. Diet is an important factor, but it's not the only one. Where is it? I think Nancy, if you just came in, there you are. We just started with a circle for the head. That's the size. You're just going to watch. Okay. Okay. And then the legs are like an upside down U. And we're going to finish that off by giving him good fat legs. Don't make them too skinny. And they're going to come up and not quite touch this. Maybe we'll erase it. We don't know. And we're going to come down here. I forgot to turn off the TV. Let me do that. Sue didn't remind me, cancel. Which I can do from my phone, you guys. Isn't that cool? There we go. There it goes. All right. So I know this looks really funny, but when you start with basics, it's all you need. When you're wanting to draw something, look at the basic shapes. And I knew I wanted to draw this, and I thought, well, how am I going to do that? Okay, now here's the belly, and the belly kind of hangs like this. Now remember, we're just going to sketch this in because we might want to move it up or down or whatever. I'm going to widen this leg a little bit. As I was saying, if you haven't looked at the photo recently, the bear just came out of the water. She's very wet. So I tended to ignore that when I was, I just drew it like she was dry. Then back here is another leg. There's a leg there that shows, and part of another leg. So the rest of the leg is over here where we can't see it because they're all big like this. Doesn't that look weird? Okay. All right, so now we're just, oh, maybe we can put a ground line in here somewhere under the feet. Hey, so I don't know. It's so far to me that looks about right. Okay, now we're going to go back up to the head again. Now, the head does come curve in a little bit at the top, but let's set the eyes and the nose. Now, there's also going to be, wait a minute, let's do one more thing first. There's also a ring of fur that comes down, or a fold of fat or something that comes down right to where the belly, it might even be hiding the belly a little bit. And in the picture, it kind of almost looks like this a little bit, like a collar. So we're still doing our basic shapes that we know. Okay, so let's pick, okay, that's going to be his chin. Let's pick the eyes. Now the eyes are a little, okay, here's the collar, here's the chin. The eyes are just a little bit higher than, they're not directly in the middle like sometimes we do. So let's just put two dots. It's looking like a cartoon character. And then we're going to make the nose. And this guy's got this girl's got a nose on her. So it kind of flares out a little bit, coming straight down from the eyes. And then down to right about here. You know, this would be a great way to draw cartoons, I think. This collar over here, if you did it like that, that's not, just bring it in closer. I have it stick too far out. Okay, and then we're going to make the nostrils. And the nostrils are towards the, first of all, the mouth is right at the bottom. So you can kind of go like this if you want to, to where the mouth and the chin is right below that. We can't hardly see the chin though. And right about part way down, about here, we're going to make the nose. So that's the top of the nose, and then it swings in, comes in like that. Nope, that's too big. Wait a minute. Because the muzzle comes out further. It doesn't touch the edges. It does come in. So either widen these out or make the nose smaller, and you don't need too small of a nose. And this part we probably won't be able to see when we paint it. And then there's a kind of a little hat that goes up like this, where it's not fur. Let me scoot in closer. I bet you guys need to see that better. Just a second. There we go. I'm sorry, I should have done that sooner. Let me just reiterate this stuff a little bit. So the nose does not touch the sides of the muzzle. And then it just, oops, pencil width is too wide. Flares out a little bit like this. And then there's part of the nose without fur comes up here, but I'm not going to completely fill that in. And then I didn't try to make the nose too detailed, but the nostrils are kind of like this. But we're probably just going to paint that all black, so don't worry about that too much. Okay. This is the hardest part right here. And when we can make any of these wider if we need to. I'm going to make the eyes just a little bigger now that I have them in place. And they're pretty much round, although the fur hangs kind of on the top of her eyes a little bit. Okay. All right. I kind of want to skinny this. I'm going to skinny the top of my head just a tiny bit. See this angle I'm coming in at here? Just a little bit, but it's very flat on the top. This side's already a little skinnier, so that's okay. And by skinnier, I mean it's narrower than the width where we put the shoulders. And then we're going to give her some ears. Now her ears, the baby's right here. Her ears are coming out here like this. So they're to the side of the head. They're not, they're just completely covered with fur. You can kind of see a little bit of a dark spot right here, and that's it. And those ears, actually, wait a minute. I have this picture right here in front of me so I can get it right. The ears are lower than this flat part of the head. See this flat part? Well, this one was right. Okay. So make sure you fix that. If you didn't, if you put them on top of the head, move them. And then I'm going to erase these lines right here. So it's a little easier. Okay. And then while we're up close, I think we will do the baby. It's pretty easy. We're just going to make a little kind of a lump here where the head is. And his ears are a little more pointed, but not that big. I made, but not like a fox. They're very furry. And they're also to the side of the top of the head. Oh, I can't, this picture is great. If you get a close up, you can see the hair coming clear out here. And then you can only, I might have to lower that head a little bit. I'm going to put the eyes in. There's a little spot here where you can just see part of his nose or her nose, and then two eyes on each side. So I'm looking at the actual photograph, and it's probably okay. In fact, that's the way I did it before too. But yeah, that's about right. You don't want to have a lot of space between the eyes and the top of the head. So don't make them any more than that. This bear is probably really big because it just came out of, oh, I don't know if they came out of hibernation and then had a baby, or if I'm not sure. It sure is a big bear. Okay, we're going to leave that alone for a minute. You can fill that in if you want. He's so cute. His fur hangs way out. Okay, let's go back down to the body. Now, the bear's right up here where the ear is, we're going to make another sweep out, and it's going to come in down here. So it's going to be right about the lower part of that ear, and it's going to come out and come down. And that's its back. That's one fold. See, we're looking at this at an angle, so we can't see the, and then I can't see the other side of the body at all in this picture. We're going to do a little more erasing. Then the back leg, I guess, the hip starts right about here, across from the nose. The nose is here, come across. And then there's going to be another kind of a swoop that comes down and disappears behind the leg. And erase his body line down here a little bit, although it does hang that way. Just kind of make it uneven like that. Oh,
Okay, you're down.
sorry. Yep, I see I'm off screen. Thank you. I just kind of made it a little more uneven here. Now, and this can be wider if you want. This probably doesn't matter too much. Now I want to bring this straight down up here. So I'm going to erase my corner here. And I'm going to bring that line straight down, because I had it kind of curved out. Yours might be just fine. And I'm going to round the bottom of the feet off where they hit the ground. Okay. We've pretty much done it. Okay, I want to put this picture back up here so you can look at it before we go too much farther. This collar that we were talking about, that's going to stay lighter. And we've got to make sure we got a line here above the chin, which is above the collar. And then this is going to be really dark in here. So, I think my collar may or may not be too wide. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to make it a little skinnier. It's just a big fold of skin, neck skin. I guess that's because, when they're coming at you, they raise their neck, and you probably, let's see, this can't go like this. Okay. I did this wrong. It has to come away from the head like that. So it's more like this on this side. And I think that's because of the angle we're looking at the bear. Okay. So now we're going to start using our pencil. We don't have much painting to do on this. We're going to start with our pencil. So hopefully you have your number 2 lead there. And we're going to just start bringing out some, let's start with the collar, the skin on the collar. And let's just see, okay, I'm going to move in again. Just make little staggery line, just little lines, little fur lines that come out from there. And they shouldn't be perfectly even, kind of make some criss and some cross so that they don't look like you've lined them up perfectly like telephone poles. Okay, then, okay, I'm going to skinny this up a little, just a little bit there. But I'm going to darken this whole area. I'm going to just darken it because that's where the shade is between the head and the neck. And we're going to do that on this side too. There's obviously more light coming on this side of the bear because I can see it under the legs too, but we're going to let that go. So then what we want to do is we want to break up all of these lines so they aren't smooth anymore. Now you can lightly erase them if you wish, but we're going to just break up this line and make it jaggy so that we can indicate that there is fur here. You can just go over your line if you want. If you've got a really dark line, let me back out again. if you've got a really dark line, I've got a really dark line right here, so I'm going to lighten that one. And we're going to make just bring up the kind of zigzag and furish looking lines all around all of these edges. And do that quickly. Don't dilly-dally and try to make it perfect, because it's not going to be that way. So I'm just zigzagging back and forth. I'm going to come back in a little bit again. And see, it's very just scribbly. That's the word I'm looking for. It's scribbly. Okay. Then we're going to oh, let's do this one too. Sorry. Let's do this edge. Now, after we do this class and after it's dry from the painting, you can come back and you can put more of these lines in, because primarily we're doing this with our pencil, the shading. We're not, we will shade with the paint too, but not as much, as we're giving it all. So I'm going to go under the collar. I like that word. And I'm going to darken. Now I've got my brush, I mean, my pencil kind of low to the surface. It's not up, it's down. And I'm going to scribble in here. I'm just scribbling. I want to darken this whole area under the neck. And then I'm going to kind of do that here too. I'm scribbling all over her belly. Now her fur actually hangs down like this. So if you want to be more accurate, you could do that. Scribble larger scribbles up and down. Different layers, different rows. So don't make them perfectly like all lined up like this. Make them irregular. Now that's starting to look like bear fur. Then we're going to come down to where the legs are. I'm going to give you a minute to catch up. I'm going to come down to where the legs are. We've got to darken the leg, the back leg from the belly. So you're going to put your pencil in this corner, this upside down V area here, where this arrow is kind of, and darken, scribble, and the pencil's still low to the surface because we're just scribbling. Just scribble fur on down to the ground and off the edge. And this is going to be darker here too, all because the leg shades the belly. Remember this little, I can't remember if I told you this or not. If you squint your eyes, where later, maybe not yet, you can see if you've got enough shading value. If you can't see well enough where it's shaded in the different body parts, then you need to go darker. So now we're going to go to the other leg and do the same thing. This is that upside down right here, this upside down arrow area. That's where the darkest part is. Go under the belly and make it irregular because that hair's or fur is hanging there. So it wouldn't be a smooth line like I started doing right there. And then make the fur hanging down, big zigzags, shade the edge next to the front leg. And one thing I want to point out is when you're shading, see how this is kind of filled in this whole area here. I didn't go up and down. I kind of I softened the paint, the lead here, so it was softer. And so it isn't too much of a jiggy jag. And not a good enough words for what I'm trying to say. Now this whole guy in here is going to be, we'll be painting this. So, and basically all we have to do is come across it with brown. So that's easy. So let's go up here. Now, if you want her to look really wet, you can make the same kind of fur here. When I did mine, let me look and see. I didn't send you that picture. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh, no, it's not it. I think I took a picture of it before I um, painted it. There it is. Okay. When I did this one, I just kind of went like this because this is lighter because it's in the front a little bit. So I guess I was in a hurry, so I didn't go too much. So this one I'm saying you can come back and do it. Don't make loops, make like this. This bear's wet. They must have fairly long fur. I'm not sure. And I just scribbled this. When I sent you the picture originally, it was just scribbled like this. I make it a little darker next to this collar. And this one too. Now I'm just not pressing this hard now. I pressed hard down here, but not as much up here. So let's just give this front leg some fur. Now this is an impression. It's not realism, but it's kind of a little in between realism and impressionism. Not impressionism like Monet, but okay. Now we do want to put fur on this collar too, but I'm doing it much lighter because in the picture, this is a much lighter area of the body. It's just a big fold. Now see how this is just, I'm sorry, I go too fast. Let me wait. You can't ever do the same thing twice, so I'm sure my original picture looks different, but what I started to say was here I have just shaded in a little line right here, and we don't want that. We want to shade it. We want it to be a little more not a perfect line. Like here, I rounded it out up there. Now we got to come into here under this head, and we've got to darken that one. It's a scribble, scribble, dark. And this is very jaggy because she's got water hanging off her chin. Okay. Now we need to shade next to the muzzle. So I'm going to shade. This time I'm using partly convex or concave. You pick your take your choice, whichever one it is. I'm shading away from the eye, down like this on both sides. Let me move in. We'll just start with that. And then there is markings on the outside of the eye, kind of like a frame around it. So kind of pretend like they're eyebrows and make a little ring around the eye like this. Maybe they are eyebrows. And we need to give this head the fur as well. So now this is going to be coming back and away from the eyes. So our lines are going to go back and away and out and away and then down when you get closer to the muzzle, to the chin. But we'll make those lighter because the markings of these markings we just put on were darker. And then we're going to come up from the nose. And then just finish the head off. Some, you can do so much with just a number 2 pencil. People do all the time. So they're just humble, but they work. Then we're going to break up this ear, make it, it's a kind of a smooth line that we need to unsmooth. And I did darken a little bit here, but you can't really see that. I mean, you can't see an opening to the ear. It's just very, very shaggy. I guess they use their nose primarily to smell with because you can't, their ears must be full of fur. And you can make this more jaggy if you want because it seems a little odd to make it smooth when the rest of her is so wet and jaggy. So I'll go ahead and do that, make it just a little bit more pronounced. Okay, here's the mouth and here's the chin. That's what they open when they're gonna bite you. If they, I'm sure you've seen the claws on these things too. Okay, and we have a little bit more shading to do here. Finish up the little guy on top. I am going to lower those eyes. They don't have to be lowered. I'm just going to lower mine. He could have his head up a little higher. There's no reason why not. And then now his hair comes out all the way out like this, just like his mom's does. And this was just the top of the nose here, so it comes back that way. Let's jag up at those ears, jag up the smooth lines. Don't. And his ears were pretty dark inside. And I would invite you to look at that photo I sent you and go over it. You look, just everything is in relationship to everything else. Like when I said the back was down from the ear. And it seems too high to me. I don't want to leave it there, but that's the way it looks in the picture, so I will. Okay, then we're going to darken here where the back comes away from the leg. I'm just scribbling dark. And we will paint this a little darker too. And then the fur is going, this fur is actually kind of going out because it's going back. It's from the back. And so it'd be going down his back. That just makes sense. It's even got some flyaway pieces on it. And we'll be doing the same thing with that back leg. Shade along the edge. I'm shading into the belly part or the back part too, because that makes the line more broken. And his hair just fur just sticks out and kind of hangs down because this is the back leg. It's basically done. So when you get it to this stage, you're going to want to go back and you're going to say, oh, I need to darken this, I need to darken that. And you probably do. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to the painting. And then do you remember what I said? That you can, when this is totally dry, there's nothing to stop you from using your pencil to make some more marks. Nothing at all. Okay. I know she looks fat, doesn't she? You know, if you were going to draw something like this, you would never make it look like this. Now, in all honesty, the picture is a little thinner. I've got my bear pretty wide. But I would invite you to go back and do another one because this is fun. This is relaxing, the scribbling and this drawing of this. So get it later today when you're sitting in front of the TV, get that book out, get that picture I sent you with the actual bear on it, the photograph, and do another one. And remember to pay attention to how the relationship to the locations of things. Now I could have made this thinner, and I think my original, the one I sent you was this leg could be in a little farther, and that would have, if this leg was in farther, all of these would have been thinner. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's get out our paint. I'll give you a few more minutes to keep scratching on that if you want. So. And I'm just going to use a big brush to just kind of, I'm just going to cover all of this with paint. And then we'll go back with our liner brush and do some darkening with the black. Now, if you only have brown earth, and that is what I used. I used the brown earth and I added a tiny bit of black to it because the brown earth is almost reddish in compared to the fur that I'm looking at. It's now the fur on the bear, it was all lit up on, he had the sun behind him apparently. So I keep saying him. Why do I do that? Let's make this a little bit more noticeable here. Then the top of the nose is quite light colored. So we won't be painting that as dark. But anyway, if you take the brown earth, let me just play for a minute over here. If you take the brown earth and you put a tiny, tiny bit of black in it, then it'll be almost like burnt umber. So brown earth. See, that's really reddish. I'm going to clean my brush. Blot it. And I'm going to try to get a tiny bit of black. It's almost a good idea to put the black to the side because it's so strong. And you can tell if you need a little bit more or not. I think I'll just stick with that. I mean, there's different colors we could have used. We could have added yellow to it, and I just decided to keep it simple. So I'm going to wait till you get your paints ready. So I'm gonna bring some water drops down here onto my palette, like I always try to do. And I'm gonna blot my brush. Well, I don't need to blot my brush. What am I doing? I want it wet. And I'm gonna come in here and pick up some very watery brown. And I'm gonna start down here. Now that is plenty watery enough, so it could be actually darker than that. So I'm going to go into a little more paint. But it is a good color for the lightest areas of the bear. So I'm going to keep going, even though it could be darker. Now see how our shadows are turning out? Our shadows are working, all that. And you can let it hang off the edge too. So this is a really light brown. It's just just like a paint by, you're just filling in the whole blasted thing. I don't know if it's blasted or not, but picking up a little water, coming over here to get a little bit more paint. Because if we don't start with our lightest value, we can't lighten it easily. We'll just do the little bugger up here too. I'm just using the edge of my brush right now to get those little areas. And then the top of the nose is very light brown. I just come around there, and also the eyes. We don't want to leave those. So I painted the entire bear light brown. I'm going to sit and wait till you catch up, because then we're going to darken it a little bit. And I did add greenery at the bottom because she's off to her cave or wherever. I don't know if they go back to their cave except to hibernate or not. There's a lot I don't know about grizzly bears. They're scary things. Now I could go back into just this same color. I'm going to darken it just a little bit more. I think it's not quite dull enough for my happiness. That's better. Put a little bit up here. Yep, that'll work. So I want a kind of a gray black, a gray brown. Okay. Are you ready to go to step 2? Are you ready? I'm going to come in here. Oops, a little bit. I'm going to blot my brush a little bit. Darken this area. You can kind of pat it in if you want it to look. I'm not going all the way around the belly yet. I might go later. Darken these areas of the foot. And we do need to darken the edge of the front leg where it touches the belly. I know I'm going kind of fast, so I'll slow down. Wait for you. I wish I'd made that chin different. I want to see if I can erase that. It's kind of sags right there. It actually has fur below its chin, just like that golden doodle does in the other room. Don't ever want to pet her when she's just had a big drink of water, because oh my gosh, you'll get wet. There are quite a few different colors on this bear. Looking at the photograph, this part under here is lighter. So since I lengthened the chin a little bit, I'm going to shade around it. And if you have too much paint on your brush, blot it. And then let's darken. You get a line, soften it with a clean water in your brush. And we're going to darken the edge where the bodies, where we already darkened before, we'll darken with more paint because the second layer of paint is darker. than the first layer. I'm going gently on the face. That's at the door. Okay, so let's check this again. We're going to darken the edge of the front legs. I think that's the bug man. And anywhere it needs to be darker, if you think it needs to be darker, add a little bit more paint. It's pretty dark right here around the eyes and then gets lighter as the fur goes away from the face. And I think that's all I'm going to do for right now because I want to get the black on it. The belly needs to be a lot darker. Oops, wow, that's a lot of paint. You didn't need that much. I'll clean my brush, get rid of most of that, and then come over here and I'm going to darken. The belly needs to be a lot darker. I'm kind of just patting it, so I'm not making it too smooth. It should be dark all the way down to the bottom. But we definitely need to be able to see darker where the back legs are. And so if you don't have enough dark graphite in there, you can come in with your dark paint and separate the legs from the back legs from the belly. I'm picking up my paint because it's so wet. Yeah, it's better. And then remember what I just said about, or what I said a little earlier. You need to squint at this and see if you can see the different body sections. Have you shaded enough? And we're going to use our, to do the black, which we're going to do the nose and the eyes. You need to get your liner brush for that. Just somebody needs to answer the door. Can't find my phone. Oh, there it is. So next, so get your liner brush out.
Yes,
Go answer the door, please. It's rung twice.
it's the spray guy.
Okay, well, he must want to talk to you. Maybe he needs to come in. So would you go ask him, please?
Okay.
Bye. Zoom classes are so fun. Okay, so I've got my liner brush and I've kind of tapped my brush to a point. It's not super thick. It's thin. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to darken this eye. If you want to leave a little highlight, you can, or we can come back with, I like to do that because white's kind of strong. And then we'll do his eye, the baby's eyes. See, it just looks stronger when you can use actual black paint than when you, you know, just do the graphite. And then we're going to go to this nose, and the nose is all dark. You can leave a little spot open like it might be a shine dot. That's okay. And then a little bit under the chin, under the mouth where the chin drops. Let me move in a little bit closer. Okay, well, the gate's not locked. No, the gate, just tell him the gate is not locked. Sorry, guys. Yeah, if you guys want to come over, the gate's not locked. Come on in. I'm just using my liner brush, and I'm kind of just making a little bit more fur marks with it. Do this carefully, just in case you don't like it. But doesn't she look better now that she has a really black nose? Now, I want to thin my black down a lot. I want to thin it down and just give a little bit more black above it, because that's the way it looks in the picture. Right above the actual nostrils, there's a little bit of the black right there. I'm not going to overdo that. We're going to keep that pretty quiet. I guess I'm going to get rid of that light, light too. And you can come in here and tap some color a little bit in the ears, not much, just a little bit of color there. And use your finger or paper towel if you get too much. And that's pretty much a bear. That's our bear, but I did put greenery on the I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be, there was a whole lot of greenery behind this bear, which you can see in the picture. But that was too much greenery. I didn't want to go there, so I just made up one for her. And I just took this same large brush. I think I'll just swish a little water down here. And then I went into my favorite green and just kind of just scribbled some on here like this. And splotchy's good. And be a good idea to, you can use the, instead of switching to the liner brush, I just put the brush on edge like this. Kind of just started with some ziggy-zaggy, again, ziggy-zaggy lines to look like, and then you can just put it straight on its edge with a little bit darker paint, more intense, not that much. If with a little bit stronger paint, you can just, on the edge of your brush, if you're using a round brush, you can use a point. And make these all irregular heights. And if you wanted to do another one, you could darken the back of this a lot. Let's darken here a little bit more. I just didn't spend much time on the surroundings. And it's a good thing too, because we'll be running out of time. And then you can use your liner brush, or you can use that same brush. And we're gonna dab some flowers out here, but I'm gonna let you catch up first. This is kind of a yellow green, so it works good for this. Just like phthalo blue works good for skies. You don't have to change it. It works just good the way it is. Now I can see it really well in the picture. When I painted the eyes, I left a little hole where the highlight, where it would be reflection of light. If you don't have that, if you've painted it solid, I want you to go into a little bit of white and brown, just not straight white, or if it's very, very thin white, very thin, so that the brown will show through, or the black will show through, and just dot it so that you can tell there's somebody home in there. Because if and I've said this before, but for the sake of somebody who may not have heard it, if you paint an eye and you don't put a highlight on it, it's like a cave instead of an eye. So when you put a little dot on it, or a highlight dot, that gives it the roundness that's reflecting light. And that's then you can tell there's somebody home in there. That's why I say that. So I'm going to pick a color. I think I'm going to pick my new favorite combination of red violet, which is a pretty color all by itself. I really wish they'd shut the door. And if you go into a little bit of the pyro red, and it kind of makes a hot pink color. Maybe too much. And you could actually do layers, like you could do red violet in the back. I'll try that just for fun. Oh my goodness gracious, sick alive. In Alaska, it's not the national flower, but they're pretty well known for their what is it called? It's not fire. I think it's called fireweed. I'm sorry, with these dogs, I'm drawing a blank on everything. Now this is just red violet that I've packed. I've used the flat part of the brush, part of the edge, and even just dotting it with the corner. And anyway, it's a spire. Some of you may know what it is. It's like a spiky flower, and you can make jelly out of it. My granddaughter's made jam or jelly out of it. So I'm going to go to the red now. And I'm going to just brighten it up just a little bit. Change the position of your brush, or you're going to get repetitive. It'll look too repetitive. Maybe I didn't need all this bright red, but we've got it. This is a happy spot for this bear. And put some down there too on the ground. That is it. It's a wrap. So I'm going to sign it. I can see why you guys, this was a little fast. Today's what day? It's the 13th. And sign it. But you can come back. You can come back and you can, when this is dry, like I said, you can add more pencil marks, and you might want to do that. It might be fun. It's never done till you're done, right? So I will call that the end, and I'm going to turn off the recording now. Somewhere. Make some room here. Can't find my mouse. Where is it? There it is. Oh, they moved that.